I'm excited like a little kid. Oh, the new Tekken 8 outfits? Oh, this is dope. I'm already blown away. Okay, let's go. Added to the health. Wait, damage taken by blocking certain moves.
Did he just take block damage?
Huge damage while blocking?
Is that block damage? A big ass chunk of it?
That's a good amount of time. It's draining fast, but it's a really big bar.
뭐라고? 나도 안 들었어 이게. 뭐야? What the fuck is that?
Is that initial attack safe? Oh my goodness. This isn't Tekken anymore? Yo, that life bar is disappearing quick though.
They meant what they said when they said this one. They want this to be a more aggressive game. Like, holy shit. You like guarding? Well, get ready to get fucking killed.
You hit them with this activator, your character runs automatically, and you start doing 50-50. So that's something we talked about.
It will be like Street Fighter V's V-Trigger.
Oh my goodness. So everyone is fucking ROM now?
They haven't shown anything about defense yet. I'm sure that's next. You know, we've just seen you can block.
I don't know how to feel about this stuff, but it's very flashy. It looks very cool.
I mean, I don't feel super excited either, except for the RKO they just showed King do. But other than that, not a big fan of the heat from what I'm seeing.
You like it? I hate it.
What I want to do is not watch this and just wait for the main man YouTube video to come out, and I'll just watch that. Let me get to the matches, dude. He's gonna translate all this bullshit into something I can understand. I don't know how to read Japanese or English.
Here we go. I can't even act like I'm surprised in the slightest, because I'm thoroughly not. Yeah, this is kind of what I expected from their new mechanics, their heat system. But I don't know, I'm just going to get into it. Just to avoid any confusion, I'm going to briefly explain the mechanics. First of all, there's chip. Certain big moves will do white life or gray life, and that gray life is not recoverable, and when you get hit, of course, by certain moves, you will lose all that gray life. It's not recoverable unless you attack the other person. You get aggressive, in quotations. The second bit is other things do this white life, such as attacking them when they do a power crush. And then lows, like sort of just pokey lows will do a bit of gray life. The gray life concept itself, I don't really have a problem with, but I think there's no place for chip in Tekken. I don't know. It just kind of undermines defense, which is kind of what they're going for here. And I don't really like that. But I'll get more into that later. The other bit is the heat system. That's the main thing. That's the main change. You go in the heat, now all your moves do chip, and when you're in heat, when you attack, it lasts 10 seconds, which is way too fucking long. If a match is only 60 seconds, which normally it is, but I could see them extending it because it looks like the health universally is bigger. 10 seconds is just so long, though. You know, there's going to be just a lot of robbery there. When you attack in heat, though, it stalls for even longer. So this shit is, it's not fucking going away, bro. It's gonna be there for so long. It's kind of ridiculous. The second bit is in heat, the actions you can do in heat. So they have rage arts still, as they did in Tekken 7, but there's no rage drives. The thing is there's no rage drive in quotations, except for there's rage smash. Or not rage smash, what the fuck am I saying? When you are in heat, you get access to a special move known as heat smash, which is essentially just going to work as a rage drive. I guarantee you more than half of the rage smashes are in Tekken 8 are literally just going to be the character's rage drives. I would not be surprised by that whatsoever. When you're in heat, you get your it will power up certain moves, giving certain properties just more damage, I'd assume, for most of them. But some of them, like the example they showed, was King having armor on this running throw, and that's neat. And I assume from what they showed a Magic 4 knockdown. I assume that on heat, in normal hit, they will knock down now. So certain moves like that will have benefits towards them. The other bit of heat is how you get into heat. So you have your heat engager, and then you have your heat burst. The heat burst you can do by doing basically a big attack that is plus for no fucking reason other than to, let's say, give new players a chance to beat the pros, in the words of the Strive devs, which is questionable. The other bit is heat engagers, which you will basically do a big move, so like a Death Fist or something like that, and on hit, you will activate into heat. The difference between these is Heat Burst, you also do not have to do the hit if you don't want to. You can just do it in neutral, but I don't think that's what you want. I don't think you're going to see that very often. It'd be like, activating V-Trigger in neutral. It's just a very questionable decision. When you do the Heat Engager and you land the hit, you will get 2 heat energies. The thing is this amounts to basically this will be used for is forcing people to 50-50s, just being plus on demand. Either way, with these heat energies, you're going to force them into 2 guesses, because you're either going to heat burst and you will be plus there, and then you can heat dash. I need to get into that. Heat dash is what you saw in the last trailer. Basically you do this dash thing and you're plus. And that's essentially all there is. Let's say I'm a beginner, right? Or there is a beginner, okay? And in, like, let's say Street Fighter, if I'm a beginner, people are going to jump a lot, right? And I get jumped in on and all the time, and they just go in and they, throw or strike me, okay? And I have trouble with this. And I'm just like, oh man, what the fuck do I do in this scenario, right? I'm like, if they throw me, I try to throw tech, but if I try to throw tech, they'll hit me, and we're saying, I'm like a bronze player, right? I don't know shit about, fucking delay teching or all this other shit, okay? I'm just like, oh, they hit me, I just get blown up, and then if I don't do anything, they just throw me. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what to do. And it's like, what do I do in this scenario? How do I get out of this? And the answer to that question is, don't be there. Don't be in that scenario. Don't let them jump in on you. When you're in that scenario, it's just like, you fucked up. You didn't fuck up, on your guess. You didn't fuck up by guessing wrong. You didn't fuck up by trying to tech when they hit you. You fucked up when you let them jump in on you. That's when you fucked up. You should have anti-aired that with, I don't know, if you're playing Ryu, Crouch Fierce, or DP. And that's basically the philosophy of a lot of, bits of fighting games, where it's like, if they got you in a guessing scenario, you fucked up somewhere. And you need to take a step back and realize where you fucked up. The big thing is, let's say, there's a character and essentially they have this teleport, right? And it's like a jump, okay? But it removes the in-between from when you start jumping and when you land. So you just kind of go off the ground, you teleport right in front of them, at head level, right? This isn't an uncommon thing in anime games and whatnot, kind of like a teleport move, or even short hops, right? And it's just completely unreactable. It's essentially a jump that's unreactable. Like a short hop in KOF or whatnot. And a new player is like, fuck, what do I do about this? They just short hop or teleport or whatever. They get in on me, and then I try to like tech, and then they hit me, and I get blown up for it. And then in that scenario, what the fuck am I supposed to tell them, dude? I'm supposed to look this motherfucker dead in the eye, right? And tell him, this beginner, right? And tell him, nah, there's nothing you can do about that. That's unreactable. Like, you're supposed to just, take the mix, And it's just like, does anyone want to hear that? Does a beginner want to hear that? Does an intermediate player want to hear that? Does an advanced player want to hear that? Where it's just like, oh, there's nothing you can do about that scenario. You just have to hold that shit. No one wants to hear that. And that's kind of where the, like I said in my last video, where the whole thing about, the old KOF thing, what do I do about them jumping on me? Jump first. And this is kind of what that is, right? It's like, they can get in on me, right? And like knock me down, they get okie, and then they put me in a guessing scenario, right? And it's like, what the fuck do I do about that? Well, don't be knocked down. Don't get put in this fucking guessing scenario, right? You fucked up somewhere. You need to take a step back and think about that. And what happened and why you're there. But it's like, if dude just fucking, heat dashes into my asshole and plays with my balls, it's like, the fuck am I supposed to do that? Oh, you hold that shit. You can't do shit about that. You're gonna get pegged. You're done. You're done playing. You're not allowed to play anymore. It's their turn to play. You guess. Flip a fucking coin. And it's just like, dude, nobody wants to be there. And it's like, there's nothing you can do about that. And as a new players don't want that, bro. If I told any of my friends, there's nothing you can do about that, any of my friends, and I got them into fucking Tekken or whatever, and I just told them, there's nothing you can do about that, none of them would like that. A lot of them would be discouraged, and just like, that's discouraging, man. When you hear that, you're just helpless in that scenario. Like, you can't really do anything about that. You can't really stop him, and that's the problem. Just being plus on demand is something that just shouldn't happen. It just undermines the game and undermines pretty much any skill in it, and that's the point. It's to sort of lower the skill ceiling, and that's where I get into my next point. This isn't about beginners. It isn't about new players, and I don't know what it's about, because it's not beginner. Beginners don't give a shit about the fucking game. They don't give a shit about a single thing, and it's sure as hell not advanced players. Most intermediates don't care. It's a few intermediates who like this and want this mashy type behavior. The thing is these intermediates aren't really the kind of people who play Tekken. These are the kind of people who play, these more mashy and scrambly games that are for this kind of play style. The KOFs, the anime games. These are where the anime players come from, bro. Smash players, etc. It's such a small minority of people, and I think they think that, because this is the ideology here, everyone wants to do cool shit, right? Everyone wants to feel powerful, and do powerful shit. And if I'm playing a character and I can just dash in and fuck their ass, and I feel so powerful and cool and stuff, it's all cool and awesome, and everyone fucking likes it. Until the moment where it's done on me. Then it's not cool and awesome. Until the moment where dude, he dashes in my ass and I get fucking hell sweeped and there was nothing I could have done, or I get launched because I blocked low or some shit, and there was nothing I could have. Nobody fucking likes that, I don't know if they thought this shit was a good idea, like, and they were planning to do all of this, or if they think they're copying Street Fighter 6, right? I think they think they're copying Street Fighter 6, and because everyone's super hyped about Street Fighter 6, and I think they think this is what Street Fighter 6 is. And it's not. Because Street Fighter 6 actually had some fucking thought put into it. This reminds me of those memes where it's like, yeah, you can copy my homework, just don't make it too obvious. And I instantly got that vibes as soon as they showed Paul. As soon as they showed Paul with the long hair, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Are they copying Ken? Because they made Ken all edgy and cool, right? As soon as they showed that, instantly got those vibes. And the heat dash, a lot of people were actually calling it Drive Rush, when that was first shown also. It's not really like Drive Rush. It's more like just choosing to be plus, right? Because the thing with Drive Rush is now universally in Street Fighter 6, pretty much all moves are minus on block, mediums and whatnot. Drive Rush essentially just allows you to be plus on that, but in a game like Street Fighter, it's not horrible, you know? You could just be playing Street Fighter 5, and a lot of characters can just press a medium punch and they're plus anyway. They essentially get the effectiveness of the Drive Rush. This is not like Drive Rush, you know? Because Tekken's not like that. Drive Rush isn't like that. You can't just be plus on demand. It's not a neutral skip. If you try to do it in neutral, you just get checked. Right, and they do try to prevent that a little bit, as you have to be in heat to do the drive dash or whatever, right? Or not the drive dash, the heat dash. But it's very different from Street Fighter, because Street Fighter kind of works that way. You know, Street Fighter 5, I can just, like I said, press, you know, a medium punch or something, and I'm already plus, right? Instead, I have to spend a bar in this new game. The part that I think is strong about Drive Rush, which I don't want to talk about this too much because this video isn't about Street Fighter 6, but the part that's strong about Drive Rush is the Oki after throws. And also the plus on block overheads, but that's not, I don't find that terrible. The annoying part is you just get Oki off everything from Drive Rush. You just do that and you just get Oki, and by the time you're done doing whatever the fuck you're doing, you pretty much regenerate whatever drive you spent to do that, and I think that's way too strong and needs to be changed. And some characters just get Oki off throws anyway, and it's not just throws, but, you know, but that's all I really have to say about Street Fighter 6. I don't want to talk about that too much. But, I don't know, they're trying to, you know, change their game and do something different, and I don't hate that. I don't hate that idea, right? A lot of people, especially in the Tekken community, really don't like change, and will bitch about anything that's different. They just want, you know, the same game copy and pasted, and I don't think the same game copy and pasted is horrible. You know, make the same game, update the graphics, you know, update the visuals, the sound effects, all that. People loved the first Tekken trailer because it looked like Tekken 7 but cleaner, you know. But they don't want that, right? They don't want to make the same game. They want to make something new, and I understand that, and I don't think it's horrible, right? I'm not part of that, you know that what's it called? I'm not part of that group that just wants to be like, no, Tekken should never change. If they want to change something, fine. But there's right ways to do this. Like, I'm listening. If they want to change something, I'm listening. But there's right ways to do this, and there's wrong ways to do this. And adding mechanics that just allow you to be plus when you feel like it is a wrong way to do it. I honestly don't think sort of this heat system within itself is a bad idea. I think that it could be interesting having essentially like a V-trigger, a boosted, more powerful version of your character, You basically just play normal Tekken, and then you add this heat system, however you may accumulate it. I assume, because of the motto of the game, you accumulate heat system by being aggressive, so attacking the other person and going near them. Building a meter like that, fine, I'm cool with that. And then you go in there and you basically activate it, and you're in a stronger state of yourself. Essentially, upgrading key moves, having strong certain moves just be stronger overall, maybe more mobility, certain passive buffs. Like pretty much everyone I watched, they hated everything about this trailer except for the when King did the activation and he did the run with the armor. I saw no complaints about that, and that's the kind of shit people would want to see from a system like this, right? They'd want to see these cool, unique passive buffs making a sort of stronger version of your character. However, the problem people don't jive with is the just, I want to be plus, and the chip damage. Those are the two big things. Chip, I don't think has a place for Tekken. I don't think it's a good thing. But the White Life itself, I don't think is horrible. If they want to put that on when you hit them on Power Crush, or hit them with lows, like quick poking lows, I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. But just having chip overall, that it undermines defense, really. And it makes you want to get aggressive, right? Because that's what's incentivized. People do what's incentivized, right? And that's what they want. They want you to get aggressive, and if that's what they want, then they're accomplishing that by making it where if you're not aggressive, you are going to be in a deficit. You are going to lose health, But I don't hate the idea of this heat system. If I were to redesign this game, I'd make it simple. No chip on block. Alright, no White Life on block. And you can heat burst, right? You have your heat burst activation, and it's essentially just a big launcher. It's a universal big launcher, mid launcher, and your character does it. And basically you use it like a whiff punish or a guess or something, and make it safe. I'm cool with it being safe, punishable. I don't really care, Don't make it plus. And then no heat dash. Remove heat dash, and just double down on the whole buffing your character with the heat, the basically heat install going into your heat activation. I'm cool with that, but there's good change and there's bad change. This looks like a bad change, and I don't think it's hard for that to be for that to happen. But this whole I can just be plus and make you guess is not cool. It's not cool, and nobody likes it. I really haven't seen anybody who likes this. Same thing with the chip. No one really likes this. But I think the mechanic of heat could be done well, but I don't think people aren't going to give a shit about your heat install, because what's going to be the main thing is making me heat guess, bro. That's what's going to be the main thing. But I don't know. That's really all I have to say about this topic. Chip is not Tekken. It's to disincentivize. They want aggressiveness, right? Because they think this is what casuals want. This is what a bigger audience wants, but it's not. This honestly ruins a lot of competitive play. I think the defensiveness should be incentivized, but they want to lower that skill ceiling and make it offensiveness incentivized, because they think this is easier and something casuals want to do. And this is kind of my point, where trying to appeal to both casuals and a sort of esports, it doesn't work. It doesn't work very well. It's not something that's easy to do. And I'm gonna digress a little bit here. I'm fucking cursed. Dude, a game that I used to really enjoy was Overwatch. This was a game I have thousands thousands of hours in. I played the beta test. I had thousands and thousands of hours of it, and I was a lot more time than I'd like to admit, right? And another game, Rainbow Six Siege. Two games that I really loved and really played. And I basically stopped playing Overwatch to play Rainbow Six Siege, and I enjoyed both of those games, and they both essentially became victim of the same thing, the same philosophy, and the same sort of philosophy that Tekken is starting to fall under, which is catering to this magic beginner audience and also trying to grow this magical esports scene, which is just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And trying to get some new, audience or whatever is stupid. By simplifying and basically destroying what makes your game good. And also the same thing with the esports, to make it more entertaining to watch or whatever. You're every time I've seen this, it ends poorly, and I've seen it a bit. I've seen it a lot. Overwatch was, I'm gonna go back to Overwatch. Overwatch was a game I loved, a game I spent a godly amount of time with. I played since the beta, consistently, almost fucking daily, bro, until about, when did I stop playing? I'd say about Moira's released, maybe Hammond, just because they just stupid balance changes, man. Stupid balance changes, stupid updates, all to, captivate some non-existent audience of beginners and new players, to simplify the game. Dumbass reworks, and this goes for R6 too. Dumbass reworks, dumbass decisions, removing bullet holes, nerfing shields and healing, etc. Just to do that, and then also at the same time trying to make the game entertaining to watch and make an esports league. Here's the secret about that, though. People will play a game they like, right? You don't need to force an esports scene, because here's the thing: if people like the game, they'll play the fucking game competitively. Look at Smash Bros, for example. Through all of Nintendo's efforts to try and undermine the competitive scene, right, it has pretty much failed. Back in Brawl, they added like tripping and all these kinds of things. Like, Smash Bros is like it's not a fighting game. It's not a competitive game. It's not a game that's supposed to be taken competitively. And clearly Nintendo knows this. Clearly this is what Nintendo wants. It's a fucking children's party game. And I will take this to my grave. I will literally fight you over this shit, bro. It is a children's fucking party game and is not supposed to be taken competitively. Yet people do. It has a bigger competitive scene than any other of these games, and than any of these other fighting games. And the reason is because people fucking like Smash Bros. People like Smash Bros, so they play competitively, despite Nintendo's best efforts to undermine the competitive scene through all their tournament shit. What is it, like having tripping and Brawl and all these other things, trying to undermine this sort of competitive scene. People still play it competitively because they like the game. People will play a game competitively if they like it. People will play fucking single player games competitively. You want to know what that's called? That's called speedrunning, right? I was watching a video the other day about people speedrunning fucking Lego games. Fucking Lego games. How does that get competitive, bro? Because people like it. And when people like something, they will take it fucking competitively. They will play it a lot, and they will take it to the next level. And they will compare themselves with other people. That is how you get a competitive environment. And that is how you get better. That's how you get better players in these games like Tekken and whatnot. That's how you get better players in these FPSs like, Rainbow Six and CSGO and whatever fucking else. And that's how you get better times in speedrunning. In fucking Lego games. You can't stop people from competitively playing something they like. There is no way. There is competitive Sudoku, there is competitive Tetris. My God, is there competitive Tetris, bro. Name me something that is widely enjoyed that doesn't have a competitive scene. You fucking can't. If it doesn't have a competitive scene, it ain't enjoyed by anybody. Like, that's a fact. Okay? Anything people like, they will take it competitively. The other side of this is getting a beginner audience. Make the game fun. Make the game fucking fun. And you'll get a beginner audience too. Because beginners don't give a shit. They want a fun game. You want to know how most casuals and beginners get into the game? It's a friend. A friend brings them into the game. They're like, yo, you want to try this shit? Right? And you go in there and you play the game and you have fun. And you're like, damn, this game was really fun. You know what? I'm actually play this. Usually how a lot of people get into games. The thing is with fighting games is it's a bit different because fighting games have a bit of a problem in the execution. The skill floor is high. Therefore, you can't just bring over a friend. I can't bring over a friend. Trust me, I've tried just bringing over a friend and having them play Tekken or Street Fighter or whatever. And they would struggle at doing like a quarter circle, right? And that's the problem with, and I think that's the big problem with a lot of these fighting games, and that's why they don't grow in audiences, because you bring over your friends and then they have these little linguini fingers and they can't do a quarter circle, and then they don't have fun, because it's not fun when you can't do the cool moves, you know, when you can't do the Dukins. And I'm just sitting there because I've experienced the game. I can just spam fucking fireballs all day, and they don't know what to do, and then they jump on me, sure Dukin, and it's like, haha, like, it's not fun, you know, and that's the point of these modern controls, right? And that's what they don't get. Nobody's going to use these fucking modern controls. Nobody's going to use these fucking special controls online. I'm telling you, even in like casual games and Battle Hub and whatever the fuck else, no one's going to fucking use these. I'm guarantee you won't find jack shit. You'll find like less than 1% of players using these controls, because the reason that they exist is for friends. When friends come over, you're like, yo, you want to play some Street Fighter with me? Like, I ain't been doing much. I just been playing some Street Fighter. Want to play some Street Fighter with me? And they're like, okay, cool. And then it's like, I don't know, pick these modern controls or whatever, you know, and then they get these one button Hadoukens, and then, you know, they're shooting fireballs, you're shooting fireballs, and we're all having fun. And then they go home and they're like, damn, that Street Fighter game was mad fun. You know what? I'm gonna buy that. And they buy that, and you know what they're gonna do? They're not gonna play on fucking modern controls, because now they have training mode, they have the game, and they are gonna test out and see what they can do. And they're gonna use fucking classic controls, and they're gonna be like, oh, doing this quarter circle shit isn't that hard. And now you got yourself a beginner, you know? And I think maybe I'm giving people too much credit, but I think that's how a lot of people work, bro. I don't think people are dumb. I don't think most people are fucking dumb. I think most people are lazy, but not dumb. Most people don't want to put in the work, but they're sure as hell not dumb. And that, I think, is a big problem that a lot of these game devs act like. They act like their audience is fucking dumb. And I just don't think that's the case, you know? Yeah, and that's how you get beginners. That's how you get a bigger audience. And I think modern control is actually a step in the right direction, because it's not for the online. It's for local. It's for your friends, you know? It's for getting people into fighting games, not keeping them into fighting games. The modern controls doesn't keep anybody in fighting games. It gets them into it, you know? And I don't... But, I don't know. What I was saying before this, though, was... I digressed a little bit, but I was talking about the heat system and them wanting to change. And I have no problem with that. And I think change is fine, but it has to be done right. No plus on demand. Nobody likes that. Nobody has fun with that. And the people who are going to utilize it the best are not these beginner players. It's going to be the more advanced players, you know. You know, just basically give a souped up version of that character when they're in heat. which that's what I think it should be. And I have no problem with that. And getting heat from being aggressive, in quotations, just running at them, attacking them, I think that's great too. And I think, a lot of this stalling and Korean backdashing and stuff can be quite obnoxious, in my personal opinion. So if they want to incentivize that, I don't think that's horrible. The thing is just demanding plus frames is not a good thing. That's never a good thing. It's not fun. It's not fun when you're on the other end of it, and it will be commonplace. And when it's commonplace, it's really not fun. If it's one character that can do it or so, that's like, whatever, If it's a couple characters, whatever, But when it's just a universal mechanic where it's like, I can press a thing and now I'm gonna fuck your ass, it's not fun. But I think it's sort of install, that could be interesting. I think that could be done right, but you have to balance it accordingly, of course. You gotta make it, you can't make it too strong where it's just a straight up comeback mechanic. It's just like, like certain V-triggers, most people have more of a problem with the V-trigger activation than the V-triggers themselves. A lot of V-triggers I don't have a problem with. Now, of course, there are, those ones where it's just like, not just the V-trigger activation, but the V-trigger itself demands plus frames, like let's say 8’s, and like Cody's knife and whatnot. Those aren't fun. Those aren't fun to go up against. Or like Akuma's double fireball from Demon Flip and whatnot. Those aren't fun to go against, Those are horrible to fight against, where they just can be plus whenever they feel like it. Those are bad, and I think they should avoid those. And they already said heat does not change frame data, which is good. But I think basically just giving up a souped up version, a stronger version of them in heat, no problem with that. If they want to incentivize this aggressiveness, I play Leroy or whatever, and then I go into heat and I'm like fucking vanilla Leroy. I don't know, maybe that's too strong. But anyway, a couple things I want to touch about is defensive mechanics. They have none, and they're still, of course, going to keep the stunted movement from Tekken 7, which is not good, very much not good. But they did say something about Power Crush, right? They said something about, boosting Power Crush. Oh, that's your fucking defensive mechanic, which I think that's horrible. That almost implies basically making Power Crush a reversal, or like, making them more like frame 1 and whatnot. And possibly even removing, like, being able to hit them with lows and cancel them. Thing is there's, of course, not every character has a Power Crush or an easily accessible one, such as like Brian, for example. He has to do his only Power Crush is Mach Punch or forward 2. He can't really do that as a defensive option, right? Or like when he's getting his ass beat in mix, he can't really just mash Power Crush because he's scared. But saying, Power Crush is a defensive mechanic, this implies basically giving people essentially like a DP, where you can just kind of go not cool and just fucking try to Power Crush that bullshit. And that would almost imply maybe a universal Power Crush, which I don't jive with that either. But hopefully not. There isn't any solid proof about any of that, but hopefully not. And the other thing was the Magic 4 thing, something I really haven't seen anyone talk about. The only one is, I think, what's his name? JDCR noticed it. But the thing is he speaks Korean and I don't, so he might not have, but I think he did. I put it in the initial clip thing. I guess I'll call it the hook. I put in the hook. But a lot of what I first thought it was is, oh shit, they removed Magic 4, like the counter hit launching Magic 4 thing. And I started coping and was like, oh, maybe it's just Paul. I hope it's not every other character. But then I realized, that's not even counter hit. Like, I don't think that's counter hit, right? I think that's just fucking normal hit. They haven't shown any other footage of anything else being counter hit. I don't know why that would be counter hit. That'd be weird. That'd be the only place that was counter hit. So I'm like, maybe that's normal hit. Maybe that's just how Magic 4s work now on normal hit, and I'd be fine with that. It'd be kind of goofy, they knock down. That's maybe a little strong, but it's not horrible. I don't feel like that takes away from the game in any way. But I prefer them just be normal, except for the one thing that I did notice is he's in heat. When he does that Magic 4 and knocks a law down, he's in heat. And I think that's how they will work on normal hit, is when you're in heat and you hit them with a Magic 4, it's just going to knock them down on normal hit, and probably still give you that launch on counter hit. So I don't think there's anything to fear about that. I don't think they're simplifying the game. They're just undermining it. I don't think they're going to strive this game. They're just going to Street Fighter 5 it and have this stupid burst of shit. But I don't know. It's still kind of a bummer. I don't love them doing this shit. This is stupid. Also, this heat shit lasts it already lasts 10 seconds, they said, which in match is 60 seconds, so that's 1/6 of the fucking match, which is quite long. I'd assume they'd increase the time of the matches because they've increased health, but with this good aggressive rhetoric, maybe not. Maybe they don't feel like they need to. The fact that it stays too long. It's too long. 10 seconds is already so fucking long. And the fact that as long as he's hitting you, he's going to keep keeping it, that's too long, dude. That's ridiculous. Anywho, that's about it for the heat. The other thing is infinite maps. And I don't think there will be infinite maps in this game, which I think is a good thing. One, it goes against their rhetoric of be aggressive. Infinite maps definitely decentivize that. They definitely incentivize more defensive play of, backdash, Korean backdashing constantly, playing, faster characters that don't rely as much on the wall, like someone like Feng Wei or something. And that can be obnoxious, I think, especially if your character relies on the wall. I don't like the concept of just stalling, It's like 15 seconds left, they got a small life lead, and they just run from you. And it's like, you motherfucker. I don't like that concept. I don't like that. And I think it's great that they removed infinite maps, and it seems like they replaced them with these big-ass maps. At first, when I first saw this map, the Coliseum map, I thought that this was an infinite, until I realized, oh shit, he's going towards the wall. This is not an infinite map. It's a really, really big wall map, and I think that's pretty dope. And this will essentially be like an infinite map, unless the guys are stalling, right? Or I guess the combos are a lot longer, so there's that. You could probably reach the end of this map better, but it seems like the maps are bigger, more infinite. I mean, no infinites. I would still like to see like an infinite Azure or something as a training room, but I don't want to play on an infinite map in a ranked or anything. I don't know. I don't have high hopes. Every game I just feel less motivated to play this game. I feel less hyped, which is not what you want from trailers. Nina's another thing. She looks fine. The thing I don't like is guns. The guns I feel like that's another situation of boiling a frog. It's just the guns I don't think are going to be a problem or anything big, but I think this they remind me a lot of Injustice, of Red Hood's guns, and especially the Super. But I think it sort of is, and then what's next? And eventually now you got fucking people with robot arms and throwing magic exploding playing cards and shit, and fucking, I don't know, shooting lasers out of their eyes and whatnot. I mean, that kind of happens, but those are more like gimmicks. But like, I'm talking like, this is their characters. They got fucking drones and, you know, portals and shit, you know, and the game just becomes absurd. And I feel like shit like that, when you start getting goofy and start, you know, a lot of people are comparing it to Mortal Kombat, right? When you start doing that, you start to kind of take away the identity of the characters in their gameplay to replace their identity with, you know, shit like that. You know, where it's like, oh, Nina is now the woman with the guns. Not the woman with, you know, all the butterfly loops and this and that and shit, you know. She's now the woman with the guns. And that's a big problem, I think, with Mortal Kombat characters, where it's like, oh, this character isn't that character, you know, with these mix-ups or all these interesting things. This is the character with, you know, Chinese hook swords. This is the character with, you know, this is the character who hits you in the balls. This is the character with a really bad skin condition. That's like half the characters. But when you start to do that shit, you really start to take away the identity of the character and what they're supposed to do. And I feel like that's a dangerous road to go down. And Nina having the guns is very dangerous. But that's really all I have to say. I'm not thrilled about this. I'm not thrilled about the on-demand plus frames. Make it an install, make it a whatever. But I don't know. Street Fighter 6 looks good. I think a lot of people are gonna move to Street Fighter 6. I think I am. So I don't know. Enjoy your lame ass Tekken, but I guess every Street Fighter 6 needs a Street Fighter 5. You know, Fighter 5. People are already saying it. This game's gonna be the Street Fighter 5 of Tekken, and hopefully this is a wake up call and tells them they can't do this shit. You know, and they realize that, and then maybe Tekken 9 will be really something great. Tekken 9 will be, you know, their Street Fighter 6, and will really be something blowing people out of the water. They do something new, they do something innovative, something that no one's seen before, you know, and everyone likes it. New players, casuals, competitive players, old players, everyone under the sun. And I think that's where Street Fighter 6 is going. I don't want to jerk off Street Fighter 6 too much. I think it does have a couple problems here and there. But anywho, I don't know. Enjoy your lame ass Tekken. I guess I'll see you in Street Fighter 6. But fuck, man, this sucks.